Well, it just pretty much the standard way. I made an audition tape in New York, and then I flew to Los Angeles for what I thought was going to be a callback, but was really kind of just a 6-hour hang with Paul and Joaquin. I kept waiting to dance for them. It never really happened. And then I read a little bit with Paul another time, and it felt like an eternity because I was freaking out about whether or not I was going to get the job. But it was probably start to finish about 3 weeks, and then we did a little screen test, and a couple days later he finally told me that I got the job. These days, I don't know. We feed on sound bites and everything is so. Everything is reduced down to some essence, so we can manage to consume all of this information we're expected to consume nowadays. And I really feel like it's so refreshing to see Paul's films because he gives you so much to chew on and so much to consider and mull over, and you want to go back and see it again and find more. And not just in this film, but certainly in this film, but all of his films, he really gives kind of incredible bang for your buck to the audience, so yeah, it is hard to describe. It's also sort of unappealing to try to describe it because I don't want to put it into any box. It covers so much. It's so funny. It's so sorrowful as well, and surprising. And I mean, obviously, can you tell I'm a geek? I'm such a nerd. I mean, I run to his movies. I go, Friday night, opening weekend, every time. I don't want to see a trailer. I don't want to hear anything anybody said about it. I don't want to read anything because it's such a treat to get to go on a journey with a filmmaker who really gives you one, and he always does. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, firstly, he just, I think, so perfectly honored the novel, having, kind of kept it by my side all summer and read it and reread it and read it and reread it constantly. He really, really nailed the feeling of reading the book. And when you read the book, you get a little confused and something funny happens and you don't know who to believe or what to trust and what's real and what's a dream, and all of that kind of process is just what it feels like to me watching the film. It's so active for the audience, and yeah, it's just, I thought he did an amazing job. And I don't think it's like anything else he's ever made, and people make the comparisons to things, but to me, I've never seen a film like this film. It's so strange how it works. I don't know. For me, maybe I think for a lot of actors, sometimes you just really connect to a character. You don't necessarily know altogether why that is. For me, that happened really quickly with her. I just felt that I understood her, and I think that initial spark, that initial feeling is so important because it's the thing that gives you the permission to say, yeah, I can play her. I can do this, and then you don't necessarily yet know how you'll do it, but just to have that initial spark that makes you feel it's possible, and it's really sort of, I think, kind of liberating. He's amazing. I mean, it's just, I keep saying this, but I find when I talk about this, when people ask me certain questions, I find I'm so, sort of dumbfounded at my good fortune, and it's just, this starts happening, and I just shake my head. I can't believe it, there's no more perfect stew than the language of Thomas Pynchon and Paul's, direction, and a scene partner like Joaquin. I couldn't cook up a better a better a better stew. I don't know why I'm using a stew analogy. It's so kind of foul. Yeah. So yeah, he you know, great actors make your job easier, you know, and it's as much you know, he's so grounded as a performer, and he's so creative and playful, so it always stays energized and active, but also always feels really real. And you know, the job takes a lot of sort of forgetting and eye squinting to sort of quiet your real world and believe the fictional world for the time that you have to do it in any given day, any given scene. So it's really a relief and a treat when you're working with someone where all it takes is looking in their eyes to believe that what's happening is, you know, real. Oh my God, it was so much fun. You know, and some of it's really sort of unusual, a very particular vernacular. One of mine is a sentence that starts with is, and it's meant to be like, the thing is, they want me in on it. And as written in the novel, it's they want me in on it. And you know, there's you know, it's just particular to pinch on, and it's always really fun to get to do that kind of thing. And it's just such a reminder that for writers, you know, that there's a lot more, that the playing field is a lot bigger than often people feel it is. You know, you know, it's so inventive the way he writes, and really, really fun to speak. Yes, and I also think not understanding it is part of that. You're getting it right if you're a little confused, because it's a film about a very confused man in a confusing town and in a confusing time. So, you know, I think that we're sort of taught that if we're confused, we're messing up, or we're getting it wrong, or we're not smart enough. But actually, if you are a bit confused watching this, you are doing great. You know, that's the idea, and so I'm always happy when I hear that people are confused by it.
Okay.
Then I feel like, oh, then it worked.